have to.
What? Whose phone is that? Is that mine?
Well, it might be my speaker, but
hey, we are live, Gregory.
Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Live with Lussetto. We're doing a little bit of different format tonight. We had a lot of questions about the bell housing, some of the safety equipment stuff, and we thought we'd do a little question and answer if anybody have any questions, and we will do our best to answer any and all the questions you guys have and give what information that we have. This deal very, very much has me concerned for the upcoming season because there is some stuff safety-wise that we're going to have to take care of. And right now, it's just not looking like there's a heck of a lot of wiggle room. So, if you guys have any questions, please get on here. And if I don't have the answer, I will be we'll be back in touch with some of the manufacturers and our insurance company. So Dan, if you have anything that you want to add.
No, not really. It's kind of all new and upcoming information, so I don't know a lot.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, and Dan, factors, and we have our blankets with expiration dates and all of that stuff. So, that's something else that the bell housing deal is just a little bit different than what we're used to. Dwayne Pfister just added, want to know if they can run blankets. Specifically, I have not found out on the Economods because I will not lie to you. Initially, I was really concerned and worried about the Pro Stock pickups because that's where this deal probably started. But as we Dan and I were talking, there's also Economods. There's the both the Street Mod 2-wheel drive and the naturally aspirated 2-wheel drive. So this deal could be pretty wide ranging across our brand, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
And Dwayne, for the blankets, my first conversation with USPA, which is our insurance sanctioning body, was no. It had to be a bell housing. So I do need to follow up because one issue, and I never would have thought of, but actually the Pro Stock pickups actually turn more RPM than most, if not any of the other classes. So that could be something I hadn't really thought about. And talking with one of the guys that was kind of the start of QuickTime, he said that their bell housing, so I think it was 6.1 SFI, was rated to contain a 22-pound flywheel at 9,500 RPM. So that will be a follow-up question, for our insurance company to see that if our Economods, where they aren't 10,000 RPM engines at the time, that, maybe we can still run the 6.1 bell housings. Most Lakewoods without the liner, no, like in the Pro Stock deal, sounds like they are not going to be legal.
Now, like most of the Economods, aren't they basically set up kind of like the tractor, the clutch is in the factory bell housing?
Well, so see, not really, because a lot of the motors are mounted independent of the frame. So they may be mounted in slightly in a different spot. It's not like they run the bell housing or center housing, like what we're used to.
Yeah.
Where they're bolted up solid.
Yeah.
With that being said, Dwayne, I will certainly check to see on the Lakewoods, to see if they'll be fine. Now, one other nice thing, and talking, I called Holly out in California, who Holly has seemed to have bought up 90% of the performance world. They bought both QuickTime and Lakewood bell housings, and they were great as far as sending them in, as long as they have not been modified. If you've drilled holes in them, any of that stuff, they will not be certifiable. But if they're unaltered, they said that they would be glad to, they basically peel off the powder coat, inspect it for cracks and all of that stuff. And then, they would be glad to recertify them for, it was like $85 to $100. So, you know, it's not so much a money to recertify them as it's probably more time and effort to you know, take all that stuff in and out, box it up, ship it. But the next issue that's really going to be huge is if you have to buy a bell housing. The first company that, well, I talked to Browell and I talked to ProBell, which is part of SCS. Browell does make a can that would go, they would custom make one to go to a 465 or a 435 like the Fords or whatever factory transmission. It sounded like they were in the $1,700 range. And but the biggest issue is going to be time frame, because they're talking like 12 to 14 weeks, you know, and while off the cuff that doesn't sound like much, you don't want to go look at a calendar. Any hiccup in the supply deal, and it may be tough to get one by the season. ProBell, which is part of SCS, they do not make anything except for the reversers, for the, like what the Pro Stock pickup. So that, you know, that potentially could be a big deal. Their lead time was 3 to 4 weeks, but without having something, you know, for part of, I know part of our pickups aren't running reversers, that could be rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, I like to think this one's for you, but this could fit either one of us pretty well, I think.
Yeah, that's probably for, I'm gonna say it's for you, but I know it's for me.
Yeah, I'll take one for the team there. You're probably right.
Oh.
So, you know, and Dan, this is something that you and I talked about. This is a rough crossroads for, I know for some of the competitors, it's a lot of money to spend. The one thing I think that we have to be very cognizant of, that insurance is a huge part of our deal. It's, you know, I hate to put it this way, but it's somewhat of a necessary evil. And it is a huge, huge hurdle, you know, with our group. And as we're striving to make our group better, the insurance coverage is better, the payouts have been better. We'd all like them to be more. But part of this is going to be part of, you know, some of our guys having to take a step in making our equipment better and safer. And, you know, I don't know where else to go with that, but it stinks, you know, and hopefully we'll look back at this and, you know, it'll become a little bit of a new normal that, yeah, we may have to send our bell housings in every 2 years, but hopefully we're still pulling in the next 4 to 5 years, and, you know, we don't get uninsurable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, Dan, I just put that one on you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, you know, Dan, and I might have you visit a little bit about like when you guys went to Wisconsin. You know, it was a step. You know, I guess maybe it might be a wake-up call for me and what we were doing with our group out here, that maybe we might have to reevaluate a little bit and take a step towards getting better in some of the safety areas.
Oh yeah. And there was, you know, there was definitely things that we had to do different to go up there than what we had here, I would say. But and I'm at fault. There was some things that should have been done that I didn't have done. I knew should have been done. I just didn't get it done. But it's part of the deal. You know, if we want to go play, we got to follow the rules. So yeah, it cost some money and then burned a hole in the pocket a little bit. But I mean, that's what we got to do. If you're passionate enough about it and want to do it, I mean, you know, if that's your true hobby or sport that you're into, it's just something you're going to have to bow down and going to have to give in and do it.
Yes. Dwayne's got another comment here. And you know, he's not wrong on, he said that we have uneducated people telling us what we have to have. And I will 100% take blame for a lot of this, because you know, I like to give Ryan Boyson a hard time, but, you know, he warned us about this at the national meeting and probably kicked it down the road, didn't really think about it applying to our guys as much as what it looks like it's going to. But, you know, Dwayne, I will assure you I'm working on a deal. Our banquet's coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend. We will have a lot more in place as far as, you know, I've talked to 4 manufacturers of bell housings. I've talked to Mike Miller with our insurance company. I need to follow up with that, you know, I have questions just like what you mentioned about the blankets, you know, but we have to get a definitive ruling from him, and that will be coming and will be in place by the banquet. You know, I'm working on a presentation, so, you know, we should be able to answer all of your questions for sure that night. And I'll be the first to admit, I didn't quite really think about it with the Economods. You know, like I said, I was more concerned about the Pro Stock pickups. But if you really look at bell housings, that could include anything from our diesel trucks, our modified tractors, Economods, like I said, the 2 classes of 2-wheel drive pickups. So it's absolutely, you know, something that we got to get a handle on. Oh, boy, talk about slip that one out of the bag there, Kurt.
Yeah. Way to be a party spoiler there, Kurt.
Yeah, gosh darn. This is something else that I think is really cool, and I can't thank Kurt and, you know, his team enough for this. We just renewed our title sponsorship with Titan Machinery for the 3rd year. I will tell you, I, for one, am very proud that, you know, I love to think that they see the value in what's growing here. You know, and to me, I'm not one that likes to interchange sponsors. I like to stick with them, create, you know, relationship and a family atmosphere type thing, and keep that going. So, you know, that's we're very happy and very proud to have them back on board as a title sponsor for the 2024 season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, Todd, this will be this will be for all the Heartland classes or Heartland region classes. And I mean, we're talking on the Outlaw National level as well. Now, for you specifically, on your tractor, we have to have a 4.2 Kevlar blanket. So, you know, the bell housing deal will not affect you as much. However, one other thing we should add, the SFI certification on the 4.2 blankets is good for 5 years. And I will tell you, I, for one, need to get stuff, you know, sent in. I think we have probably the one on the McCormick that is due. So, you know, that's something that we will need to check.
And will Stroud do just only their blankets or somebody else?
No, that I need to call, but I'm pretty confident that Stroud will just do their blankets.
Okay. And I know if you've got a Stroud blanket, their turnaround time there is pretty quick.
Yes. This is good news here, somewhat unrelated. Sounds like Bob needs a year of recovery and things are doing well. That's great news.
Yeah.
Okay. Spencer. Racers are 5 years. Spencer, from what I understand, I don't know what the 2 years are. It sounds like that has kind of become somewhat of a standard deal in the bell housings. But the modification part is like, I can only speak for Browell because that's who I talk to. Browell will build it that way for you. So you can buy that and they will do it that way, and they will continue to recertify it. And I do believe they were also between $85 and $100 to recertify it. There was a cleaning fee if it was really dirty. I did ask about that, and they said they've only had to, I think they only ever charged the cleaning fee once or twice. And at that, they said it was $50. So even that, it wasn't terrible. Do you, Spencer, do you know if your bell housing, what what SFI number it is, if it's a 6.1, 6.2, or 6.3.
Yeah, and could that be the difference on the years of certification too?
No, actually, see, probably the biggest issue is going to get to be that it's probably going to be if it has a liner or some other things. And now, with that being said, that's one more question I will have for Mike Miller and Insurance Company. Street mod, two-wheel drive, econo mods may not be quite the RPM machines per se as the other ones. Maybe they will be fine with the 6.1.
Okay. Yeah. Are you planning on, is there any of our techs planning on being at the banquet? Say like a Ryan or somebody like that?
You know, that I can't tell you because, you know, as far as the teching stuff, you know, that a lot of that was handled by a couple of our members. I know Scott Walker and a few people helped tech. You know, I don't know. I don't think Ryan was planning on being at ours.
Okay.
But, you know, would be worth visiting with him about it.
Yeah. Kurt, make it happen. He'll listen to you.
Yeah. Kurt will be there.
Somebody with a little more pull than you or I.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Like I say, it says there, he's saying racers are 5 years. I wonder what the difference is.
Yeah, that I can't answer that question.
Or insurance. I think I got one.
Okay, and that's and Spencer, I hate to keep doing this to you, but what brand of bell housing is it, Spencer? Because I don't, if you send it in, I don't know that it's a Lakewood. Okay. You know, I'll try to get through. I've got 2 numbers that I can call on the Lakewood stuff. I will call and check. I think it would be good to visit with the guys in Outlaw, or not Outlaw, but in Iowa about the Lakewood and QuickTime, because I think they're going to be a little more understanding of the different transmission mounting. You know, I think I hope, again, and I will visit with them, that I think they're more worried about the body of it. You know, and that was the hard thing when I called Holly out in California. That, I mean, I told him, you know, the 465 Chevy transmission, he had no idea what it was. Well, he's telling me about this car transmission. I'm like, listen, that's, you know, it's not what we're dealing with here. And so they actually don't make a specific bell housing anymore for that pickup transmission. So, I mean, that makes it tough for our guys, because how do you not drill a hole in the back face of it, which should, my opinion, that doesn't count for much, isn't going to change a darn thing on the certification process.
Yeah,
but it's
especially
more
if there's a bolt going through it.
Yeah, except for it's letter of the law, so to speak.
Yeah.
So no, we will keep working on that, and you know, and this, I tell you, the other good thing, this will give me stuff that I can also get these questions out and get answered before the meeting, so we have some definitive answers. Unrelated topic, there, Dano. You got new product coming from Coltrane?
Not yet. I just seen they released some today, or released it, or whatever. So
yeah, they had a sugar-free version, and also
watermelon.
Watermelon, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I got my pop machine here in the shop, clear full.
Your pop machine will handle 16-ounce cans, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It won't hold the 13 cases I bought at Wisner, but about got them drank.
Yeah, Lord, if they don't see some value in a sponsorship for you, man. He bought 13 cases of Coltrane at Wisner.
Yeah,
this is as bad as smoke or As bad as Smokey and the Bandit.
Well, I didn't get to many national shows this year, so I'd take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I think your kid probably drank a case of it.
I bought a case. Holy cow, I can't even remember where. I bought a case of it at Rock Valley.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll guarantee you he drank quite a bit of it.
Yeah, every time he peek in my trailer, you got any of that with you? Yeah.
Was he really?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I guess he only comes by it naturally, so.
You never came in for Coltrane, though.
No, I was just pilfering beer. That's all. Or Jason Grout, yeah, you need to, because I haven't tried it because I cholesterol issues and a few other things run in the family. I don't drink much pop or sugared stuff, so.
Yeah,
but I can tell you, Zach and several of the other people very much liked it.
Yeah, it's good.
Holy smokes. Dan, here's one for you.
Yeah, bring that one back. Good. That's a good question.
What you got?
Oh, my first pulling memory? Remember, and it was the old stand-on sled.
You're old enough to remember a stand-on sled?
Yeah, my grandpa had something to do with it, and yeah, I remember a stand-on sled. I think that was in Bolus, Nebraska, actually.
My gosh, any idea what year that'd have been?
Oh, God, that had to be early 80s, very early 80s.
I'll be darned.
And I want to say it was farm tractors. It wasn't. It was maybe a farm pull.
Let's break this into a second part. What was your first thing that you went down the track in?
The first, a 4840.
At Ravenna, or where at it?
Nope. And then Greg froze.
What's that? I did.
Come back, Greg. There you are.
I was moving on my end.
Yeah, mine did it just a second ago, but no, it was a 4840.
Okay.
I think it was probably the first time my Uncle Bruce took it it was at Farwell. And I remember specifically the owner of the John Deere dealership, who was Leon Stanchik at the time. He was a bit of a whiskey drinker. And we did quite a bit of business with him. And he come down, he says, "Boy, I'm going to make that tractor run for you. There ain't nobody going to touch you." And he got his screwdriver out and wrench. And I don't know how far he turned that screw, but we took it. He wanted to take it to John Deere, to his dealership, and put it on his dyno. And I think that M&W dyno was at 300 maybe or something. And they couldn't even slow the tractor down. So he did a pretty good job of tuning it.
Yeah. I'm blown away because, listen, I was at pulls. I mean, I kind of have some of my first memories in probably 77, and I never remember seeing a step-on sled.
Really?
So, Kurt, I'm not sure what to say, what was going on in Northwest Kansas and where Dan grew up. I can understand a little bit, but.
Yeah, and I don't know who owned that sled back then. I'd have to ask my uncle next time I go home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's hard for me, first memory, because my parents started before I was born. So, I mean, they didn't make me, they just left me at home with somebody else, babysitter, so to speak, the first year. But after that I went, and I mean, I don't have too many memories except for, traveling around, and we had a camper on the back of the trailer on the pickup. And I mean, that was, we're talking mid 70s that I finally have some memories. And then the first thing I went down the track in, all ironically, was a 460 gas loader tractor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We actually had a farm class in Bridgeport here, which by the time I was old enough, that stuff had all pretty well died, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seemed like, oh, go ahead.
they're Marty Samuelson. And I understand he's the Ravenna guy with Superfan, so to speak. And you know, we did a couple little things with Ravenna, like Labor Day or around State Fair, along with the farm pole. Kind of, I mean, it went fine. It's just it was hard to get a crowd a second time.
Yeah.
So, Dan, where did you go?
I don't know where you left me.
Okay. I tell you what, I would love to get something like a light limited super class in, or something similar to that. I mean, it'd be very cool to have a couple Heartland classes at the pole in June.
I have never hooked on that track.
What's that?
I have never hooked on that track.
Seriously?
Yep. Never been down it.
Is that going to change next year potentially?
We'll see.
I'm sure you could go give him a little hell on the cast light super class or light super ag.
I would like to try and pull there this next year. Definitely.
Yeah. And Marty said that Ravenna had step-on sleds when they had the poles behind the school.
I remember people talking about it. But yeah, I never went to a pole when they had it back by the school. I don't know what year did they move that down to the park? I wonder.
You know, I can't answer that, because I do remember when Ravenna was a fairly small Nebraska state pole, and we used to pull the opposite direction. I mean, that's my first memories there of probably 94, 95, 96.
Oh, really?
Oh, my goodness. There's another guy. Had him in Mobile, Iowa.
Sure you just
blows me away. I don't even know quite what to say.
So was there a lot of percentage pulls in?
Oh, absolutely not. No. See, we gonna dragging the way back, but we had a sled by the name of the Dragon Wagon, which was a couple of Nebraska guys that had a 2-part box. I've got some old pictures of it on my Facebook page. And they would actually just pull half the box up in the light classes. They would attach the box to the back half, and that's how they added weights.
Really?
And, you know, to be honest with you, I've got pictures clear back into like 74 and stuff on my Facebook page of, you know, we had some guys that ran a Landall sled. Have you ever heard of one of those?
No.
They actually had a Landall trailer, and that's one of the trailers with the hydraulic sliding axles.
Yep.
And they had a pan that they would hook onto it, like on the fifth wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And the picture of my dad pulling his M Super Stock, they had like a 4430 on the trailer. They'd run the axles all the way to the front to take weight off the pan.
Yep.
And some goofy guy in bell bottoms or whatever's hanging on the side of the sled with the hydraulic levers. And as soon as they took off, he just pulls on the lever and they move the axles back, which, you know, in simplistic way, it was a weight transfer sled.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So yeah, with that stuff that they had going on, then quite frankly, I never saw a step-on sled except for we've done a few little things with, you know, some small tractors just dinking around, you know?
Yeah. I've pulled a percentage sled, but
never been a part of that. I have no idea.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of you strategize a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, in fact, they still have Mason City, Nebraska is it August? Maybe it's in the fall. They always have one there.
And they still do it?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. I don't know if they do one in maybe Litchfield, Nebraska. I know they did one year Brad and I went, and that's been probably 4 years ago. We went to one there in Litchfield. But
you know,
you'll have to friend me on Facebook so I can look at them older pictures.
Well, you just told everybody that we're not really friends, huh? I thought they already knew.
But yeah.
If you ever go to my photos, I have a whole album that's pretty much every pulling picture I could find at my parents' house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean it's pretty heavy about, a lot of our own stuff, but I've got a couple other guys that brought me pictures that I scanned and put in there too. So I just didn't want that stuff to get away. And I mean there's some pretty neat stuff as far as very early. There was a Stan Girdle out here that pulled in the 70s, and he had as tough a tractor as there was in the country. And it was a brand new 966 double front, twin turbo, Hypermax setup.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get. James sent me a couple pictures he found, and I got to get my old pictures redeveloped and stuff.
Yes.
A lot of neat pictures and stuff from back then. I don't know why back then I was a big photographer. I videoed everything, and I don't know how many cameras I went through or rolls of film I went through when we were traveling. But
you're telling me Knowles comes by it by.
He does. He has it on both ends because his mother's that way too. Which, by the way, Knowles' birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, cameraman Knowles. But yeah,
how old is Knowles?
Oh shit! Way to put me on the spot, Greg. 16.
Oh, he's okay. Awesome.
So no, maybe 17. He might be 17.
There you go. Litchfield is done, but Mason City still has their pull.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a neat little area there in Mason City where they have their pull. But if it's a hot day, it's miserable.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, Jason, you'll have to go back through there. There's some neat stuff, and there's a lot of old Colorado pictures from way back in the day. That's stuff that a lot of people don't realize the amount of pulling and vehicles that was in Colorado at one time.
Yeah, there was a lot of members in Colorado, wasn't there?
Well, like it was a very big NTPA state, and Gary Sporthays was one of their vice presidents. They had several vice presidents, but there was quite a few people. And Ross, which I mean, they had some of the craziest stuff with that turbine that sat off to the side. They even made a toy, like Matchbox toy, out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. Sporthays was sponsored by Jolly Ranchers. It should always be a neat deal. They'd have a little stagecoach there and giving out candy. And
no kidding.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff. They had a big national indoor pull in like 1980, the Denver Coliseum. And oh man, you look there and the biggest names of the names, including I saw a picture of Ron Fix of all people.
Really?
Yep. Old boy's been around a day or two.
Yeah, he has.
So, but yeah, it's I'll just kind of reiterate one more time. If anybody has any questions, please get a hold of me, text me, whatever. And this next week, I'll be on the phone quite a bit with, calling back to the people again. And if there's any questions, we'd like to get them answered and I want a definite direction after our November 4th meeting. And that way, you don't have to wonder, just like Dwayne said, hopefully I'll be educated by then. So.
Well, I think we all need a little education,
I could use quite a bit of it, Dan.
But, well, and that's just it with our sport. People got to realize that the rules are ever changing and we are at the mercy of our insurance companies,
And the other thing, the last thing that we need to happen, we had that deal that happened out in Pennsylvania or wherever, where they killed a lady in the crowd. We cannot allow that to happen. And it really on any level. I don't care if it's a small level. They attach the name tractor pulling to it. It puts a black eye on all of us.
Yep.
Even if we're not involved, it still is one more reason that the insurance company has to maybe say, "Nah, we're not willing to do this."
Yeah. What?
If this doesn't stick, I don't know what will.
Oh boy.
And yes.
Yep, he did sell it.
Rod did sell the tractor, and it's yeah, too late, Marty. That Rod potatoes, man. That's awesome. I know autocorrect got you there, but I tell you the crazy part about this thing is it literally is just down the road from Doug Baird. And I don't know if Dan, I think I told you this story, but there was a bunch of us damn snot-nosed kids, so to speak, running around in the middle 90s when it was still NTPA in Iowa. And dang near all those guys are back pulling.
Really? That
Kurt
is awesome.
Paulson.
Yeah.
Jeremy Paulson, who come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Very nice tractor.
Yeah. Not messing around.
Doug Baird, who is the guy that we got to get him back at it. Me and then Terry Mammon.
Yeah.
And we were a bunch of, kids in their early 20s, give or take a little bit. And we didn't have the most power and whatever, but man, we were having a damn good time. So yeah, we got to get him back on a tractor.
Yeah. So did you hear where Rod's tractor went? I haven't talked to Stud to see where he's.
Kurt Paulson.
Kurt Paulson bought it. Okay.
Yep. So it'll be just right there, by that Mobile, Iowa.
Okay.
So good news is it isn't terribly far away. So
no, it'll peek its head in our neighborhood, I'm sure.
Oh, it'll be back. Yeah.
Yep. So I know that was a pretty tough decision for Rod to make.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It hurt me a little bit when I saw that because Rod was a staple, wasn't a matter of the groups or whatever, but Rod was a staple and that tractor, the memories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen that tractor when it ran. Oh Lord.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah. Last time I was back home, we sat and had a
this is great
talking about it.
Doug will probably drive it.
Ooh.
Will Doug have a paper bag over his head with eye holes? Because it is the wrong color for Doug.
But yeah, I know it weighed pretty hard on him to make that decision. I know that.
Yeah, debatable.
Yeah, no balls, no babies.
Well, Kurt, you got a lot to live up to. I'll tell you what, Rod was one of those guys that, man, I've seen him at some of the biggest pulls go out and just tear people up.
Oh, yeah.
But Doug, I wasn't going to sell you out, Mr. Purple Fire Suit. I mean, I guess he drove Platy's John Deere once. So,
oh, really?
Don't tell me you're getting converted.
We can only hope. Join the fun there, Brian. I know he can do.
I don't even know where to go with that one, Brian.
Oh, we know where to go. We're just not going to go there.
Yeah, we got some limits.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Well,
any update on Arizona or anything?
Not specifically. I will tell you that Arizona's coming up quick.
Yeah.
And me personally, I got a shed full of broken stuff, so that's not great.
No, you probably better get to work.
I was, but not on my own stuff, I guess. We'll have the tractor up and going. Any news on your trailer, mate, or
not yet? We'll find out. I'll find out.
Okay, yeah, you work on him.
Yeah, I'm working. Yeah. Oh, she's prying on him. I don't know if it's
get him out of the county for once. But no, not too much. Sounds like they're working on some other two-wheel drives and a few other things. So, no, we should have Rod on like next week.
Yeah. Get him somewhere where he's got some internet service.
Yes, absolutely.
Um,
Mike, I can't promise you I'll be at Arlington. I know for me it's been a little rough, just as far away as it is, being usually kind of a single hook weekend.
Yeah.
And as busy as we've gotten, but I will tell you, I've had a blast pulling there. What a great place and great venue, right down by the river again. And
yep. Yeah. Yeah. I would like to go. I never got to go this year, and I've never hooked there either. And I would like to. That's one I would like to.
I pulled there once or twice, once maybe.
Really?
It's a nice place.
Yeah. I've been there several times, just never hooked.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, good track.
Yes.
Good crowd. Man, they get a bunch of people there.
Well, that year I was there, my goodness, they had a show. They had freaking 4-1s all over the place. And I mean, they had, for a single track event, it was pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, God dang it. What was I going to say now? I forgot. Yeah, it'll come to me after the show.
I'll tell you what, we should work on this.
I think I can make it happen.
That'd be well worth it. I couldn't imagine some of the early day stories.
Not with that crew.
Oh,
yeah.
I have several stories myself. I mean, I don't know that Rod was ever at Ravenna before the pull started. Because it was always in June. He was always working on it, you know.
Yeah.
Heck, I think part of the time they're on the damn trailer still working on it.
That doesn't surprise me.
And okay, Kurt, one more thing I'm going to tell you. I could not believe to see his old trailer. That trailer's got more miles on it than, I mean, that thing's been around the world. Because it looked like he bought the original trailer.
Oh, did he really? After they got it tipped back over?
What's that?
After they got it tipped back over?
I don't know that story.
Oh, Rod's original trailer. I thought you were talking about the one he had now.
No, the original, the old little car trailer, gooseneck car trailer.
Oh.
And, boy, there's a question for.
You want me to call and have a talk with him, Devin?
I don't know. The kind of story I heard is that you're still paying. He's still paying for college a little bit.
Yeah. Something about he's got to get some kids through college, and then then the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Well, Marty's apparently been to Bridgeport too. Yeah, that is not a bad place. It's under new management and doing just as good as ever. I didn't know this story. Does not surprise me a bit.
How lit was he? That's the question.
No, he probably wasn't working on it, probably dynoed it.
Yeah.
And I did not know this, that that does look an awful lot like his old trailer. So, oh shoot. Hang on one cow. Hang on 1 second, Dan. Take over.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's good. The last time I seen it, Marty, it was on 4 or 2 probably, but no. I'm sure there's some good stories from back then. I know the couple years I run around with the Nebraska group, it was a little wild.
All right.
That doesn't surprise me, Kurt.
All right.
Yeah, well, it was pretty wild back in the day. Yeah. That I don't doubt.
Oh, mercy.
What was the big Western swing guys always used to have? Was it like Scotts Bluff or Gearing, Bridgeport?
Well, see, back in the day, I'll tell you, this was a crazy time out here. We had Hemingford, Bridgeport, and Mitchell. In 1 year, we had the case of Elmer Hogg. We had Dennis Johnson. We had the High Plains Raider, Lyle Nelson.
Wow.
Basota. Oh my goodness.
And then you had the Barents.
Well, that's the High Plains Raider.
Yeah.
Cornhusker Deer, before it was a Cornhusker Deer.
Really?
Yeah. See, they had a little Alice Chalmers.
Really?
So yeah. Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, there were some freaking heavy hitters.
Oh, I remember we did that swing 1 or 2 years. I did it with James or whatever, and we always ended up in Scotts Bluff at the Super 8 or whatever there on the east end of town.
Yep.
And the pile of Budweiser cans sitting outside the trailer. by time the night got over, which was early morning.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was a good group of guys. God, we had a lot of fun.
You know, Keith, I don't know what to say, but pulling has evolved a little bit. But man, the characters back in that time
evolved or matured.
There were some guys that just made stuff happen. You know.
Yeah.
I also heard a pretty darn good story about Dennis Johnson. They said that they had a counterweight come off of their crank on, I think, the D21. So they were pulling it, and the counterweight went through the oil pan and went like 2 foot deep in the ground.
Really? Wow.
That was another guy that was quite a pioneer. And man, the first time he rolled out here with that D21 in the 5,500 pound class.
No kidding.
Yeah, they're.
Wow. The D21 that always sticks in my mind is Grounds, Mama's Mink.
Yeah, see, that was a lot later.
That was the most beautiful D21 I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Alan?
I agree.
Preaching to the choir here, buddy.
Man, I could almost hug you right now, Alan.
That class, and I'm sure you saw it up in Wisconsin, that class needs to happen here. The biggest hurdle right now, and I don't want to pick sides in this deal, but we've got a huge division in the weight, the rules, and all of this stuff that I sure wish we could get something ironed out, you know, because there is a lot of pretty darn good tractors.
Yeah. I honestly think that class would be great at Wisner.
Yes.
If we could get some rules to where some other, you know, come to some agreement there.
Yes.
That's a big enough pull. I think you could pull some tractors from some other associations and get them to show up. Tim McEwen. God, I haven't.
Man. You know, Tim. Back in the day, I tell you what, we always hooked 2 classes. And I do not miss those days because, man, throwing 2,000 pounds of weight on in between classes was brutal. And I can tell you one day that I thought I was going to expire was Gibbon, Nebraska, because back in the day, it was either rain and it was a foot deep of mud or it was 182 degrees.
Yeah.
And one day it was hotter than Hades. And I brought my mom's tractor and mine by myself. And I had to throw 2,000 pounds of weight in between there. And, of course, it wasn't I about died. Never again.
That's why I don't farm pull.
Yeah. Now, this one, Marty blew me away on. This Blooming Camps, they are good customers of mine, good friends. That's very interesting.
Huh.
So.
And you said Marty's from Ravenna?
Yeah.
Wonder how I don't know that guy.
Yeah, the Western sweep that most everybody, and that Kurt's right, there was Onawa, Hinton, and Carroll, which was a great time back in the day.
Really?
Oh. tell you, my computer may die. I'm missing my charger, but I tell you what, Kyle Petch was a hired gun, man. He was either driving,
he was,
and what a killer deal, man. He's either driving one of the best Hypermax Sigma pump diesel supers, or turn around like here driving Dennis Johnson's tractor. I mean,
yep.
Crazy. So, and Keith, I can't speak for Mel doing that, but I can't tell you how many times I saw Lyle Nelson load his tractor up.
Maybe hit the back of the truck.
Just a couple times.
Yeah, that patch seemed to get bigger through the years in the back of that sleeper.
It grew pretty big there for a while. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But anyway, well, I'll tell you what, we about used our time up. I'm probably going to have to bounce on you here, but I'll tell you what, we need to get some history shows on here, you know. The memories.
Yep. Yeah, we could get some of them old dogs on in this winter. I think would be very interesting.
And I'm going to throw it out here right now, Kurt Paulson. We're going to get a bunch of you guys together with Doug Baird, and love to get Terry Mammon on here too. And there'd be some good stories there from the old river run and some too. So, but that'll be for another night. Dan, just kind of in closing, kind of get back to it. We need to, if there's any questions on the bell housings, anything you want me to ask, please get me the information by this weekend, because first thing Monday morning, I'm going to start making phone calls, you know, and maybe even a little bit towards the week. So hit me up, let me know, and I'll do my best to have all the questions that I can answered by our meeting November 4th. So you got anything else to add, Dan?
I don't.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate it. And thanks for all the questions and all this. Man, drug up a lot of memories here. I sure appreciate
it. Yeah. Until next week.
Yep. All right. Thank you, guys.
You bet. We'll see y'all.